Hey yo, what's going on? I'm Ben. I'm a life coach who helps purpose driven achievers realize their true potential and do the work that they are meant to in the world. So, today we are talking about me, talking about little old me. Today, I want to share a little bit about myself just to give you an idea of where I come from, how I kind of landed here. And really, the reason that I want to do this is because I think that you'll probably resonate with a lot of the things. And while this is about me, it's really about you, right? Because you're going to be able to watch this and be like, oh, yeah. Like if you're sitting there nodding, you're in the right place in terms of my channel. And it's a great way to just kind of get a little bit of a window into somebody else's life and potentially not feel so alone in the things that you're struggling with. So hopefully this story for you, if nothing else, is validating. And I know it can be really hard. I talked about it in the welcome video, kind of outlining what my channel is, why I'm here. Talked about how difficult and lonely it can be when you don't have people around you like you. And this often happens for purpose-driven achievers because not everybody is like that. The vast majority of people are just kind of living the blueprint life, 9 to 5, getting a paycheck, going to work, going home, and they're okay. And you don't feel like that, and that sucks. It sucks to feel like you live in a world where everybody else is okay with a certain way of living and you're not. Like, it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't feel good. You may have gone into it with a lot of enthusiasm. You probably have a college degree and are, got a job in a field that feels meaningful to you. And maybe you aren't even that old. Maybe you haven't even done that yet. Maybe you're just going to college or getting ready to go to college. And you have kind of entered this, just kind of like the way that life flows and this very linear process. Wherever you're at in that process may feel broken to you. You may not feel like you fit in it. And so first and foremost, I want to share all of this today because if you feel that way, then that's right. It's important that you acknowledge that truth. And it's very, very difficult to do that when all the people around you are telling you that you should be a different way or that you're good at something and you should be grateful for it and that you should be going down this route. And that's just how life is. That's what we do. Those messages can start to feel really, really heavy and not good if that doesn't resonate with who you are at your core. So, me. Who am I? How did I get here? Again, I am Benjamin, if you prefer to really kind of like get personal. I do like being called by my full name. I like either just fine, but Benjamin's kind of nice sometimes. Let's see. I have a degree in computer science. I got into that field. I went to the engineering school at University of Illinois. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in Schaumburg, if anybody is familiar with the area. I went this route in college because in high school I was really good at math and science. And I tested out really well in those areas, and so I didn't have any direction, but because I had those test grades, my advisor was basically like, hey, this is you're good in these things, it kind of makes sense for you to be an engineer, check this stuff out. Engineering sounded interesting to me. I thought video games were cool, I was a teenage boy, and so I was like, yeah, I could go into creating video games, and okay, yeah, this stuff is exciting, it's fun. And there's a lot of money there. So in the field of engineering, good starting pay, high ceiling, cool beans, we're good to go. So I got into college and pretty quickly, by the way, I was a 4.0 student. I was on my shit in high school and below. Didn't really even need to try that hard. I was that annoying kid. And kind of got my ass handed to me when I went to college because all of a sudden I didn't have this crazy work ethic or anything. I did my work, I did my homework, I did well. I was a good test taker, which if you weren't, you understand the opposite side of the spectrum. Most of you here probably were good test takers, but and that's not to say that anything is any better or worse than another. They're just different ways of intelligence. I have plenty of friends, family members who are brilliant and were terrible test takers. So yeah, anyways, college started to kick my ass, and it was like a totally new situation for me. Started struggling with stress and anxiety because I sucked, essentially, and it was very new to me. Within school, about halfway through, I was just like, I just want to get out. I just need to like push hard, and I'll be making big boy money after this, and everything's gonna be okay. That was like literally the thing that I kept coming back to was, eventually I'll be making a lot of money, so it'll be fine. Which in hindsight is really funny because I realized that didn't mean that much to me. It wasn't what mattered. So push, struggle with stress and anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Like, by the way, to put this in perspective, towards the end of my college career, senior year, my test anxiety, which I just proclaimed how great I was at test taking, my test anxiety became so bad that I actually started having a couple drinks before the test to calm my nerves, because otherwise I would get into the test, I would flip through it, realize I didn't know how to do any of it, and immediately my mind would just go blank, and just like this sheer just like panic set in, and it was spiral time. It was, I'm not gonna pass this test, which means I'm not gonna pass the class, which means I'm gonna fail out, and I'm never gonna get a job. What the fuck am I gonna do? I just spent all this money in college. That was what happened within a matter of 60 seconds in the first 5 minutes of taking a test. So not something I'm proud of, but it's kind of funny in hindsight from somebody who doesn't drink. I don't have a drinking problem. But that's like the reality of what it was. So anyways, I managed to pass. I got out of college fine. And I got a job within 6 months. And so it was at an IT company, again, in the suburbs of Chicago. And I was thrilled. The contract, the offer, the pay was $52,000. For me, as a 20-year-old, right? That's how old you are coming out of college? 20-year-old, to see that pay, 21, 22, I don't fucking know. To see that pay, I was like, finally. Like, this is what I worked my ass off for. I'm finally here. I made it. This is awesome. Got the job and felt really cool for a while. Felt really fucking cool. I was going to my big boy office, going to my big boy job. I got my business cash on. That's not here. See, I'm still living the life of like, I don't need to wear that business cash anymore. And just feeling really grown up. Truly, I was. I felt grown up. I felt like I was doing what I should do. I was getting paid really well. I mean, damn, dude, those first couple checks that come in, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm a baller. 52 grand, I'm a baller. That went that way for a while, and it was enough. It was enough because I felt like I was doing the right thing. I was doing it was interesting work. I was doing interesting work. Like the people that I worked for, the company that I worked for. I wasn't passionate about it. It just like was what it was, but it was fine. A year in, I had my review with my boss. I basically, at this point, by the way, I just got to the point where I was like, okay, like it's not that exciting. It just is what it is. I just have a job. I'm making money, just whatever. But I started to feel these little inklings of like, oh man, it's like kind of a drag. It's like not that great. Good money, but no, this is a year in. So I realized that I'm a baby compared to most people that have had 5, 10, 15-year careers before they realize, oh fuck, like what am I doing? But I had my 1 year meeting with my boss, my review. And I remember it so clearly. We were sitting in the conference room and we were going through, this is great, you're doing great, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I was like, I'm not actually doing that great because I still, going back to college where I felt incredibly incompetent and I fucking hated it, I still was feeling incompetent in my job. And it was actually annoying to me that everybody around me was like, oh, you're doing so well, you're doing great. I was a consultant, by the way, so like, yes, I had the consultant role down because I'm somebody that has the capacity to do these things, you know, mentally, in terms of like the work, but also I'm this person that is also like, they can talk to me, right? I'm not just some computer nerd that has no social skills. I have social skills. And so everybody's like, oh, you're doing such a great job. And I'm like, no, I'm actually not. I'm like, I'm struggling. I'm not doing this well. And of course, I'm not like saying that out loud, but that's how I felt inside. Anyways, so we're sitting there. She's praising me, being like, this is great. This is great. I'm curious for you. What do you see for the next year? What goals do you have for yourself? Where do you see yourself going within this company? And I was just like, oh, shit. Because for me, as I'm sure similar to you, you are goal-oriented. You're somebody who's always driven to be better and to take the next step and to go above and beyond. And in that moment, for me, it was, holy shit, I don't actually care. I have no ambition whatsoever. And for me, that was a major red flag. So everything changed in that moment. And I just realized, like, what am I doing? Like, actually, what am I doing? This is not something, a way that I want to continue to feel. If I don't have goals, that's a problem. What is actually happening here? So I went through a big, long, reflective process. I realized for myself what it was that I felt like I was wasting my potential. I felt like I wasn't using my inherent gifts as a person. Skills, sure. I went to school and I learned all these skills, and that's great. I use those. But what I wasn't using, I had this sense, I didn't have this clearly figured out at this point by any means, but I just had this general sense of like, I'm not, the things that I do well as a person, my just like inherent gifts as a human being aren't being used. And I hate that. Like, it was literally weighing on my soul. Like truly, that's what it felt like. I was just like, something is wrong here, because I could be creating more impact. I could be doing something more meaningful. And this is really important to mention here, because I know there can be a lot of shame. If you're experiencing something similar, there can be a lot of shame when you're in this position, because it can sound very self-serving to be like, oh yeah, I have this like soft, cushy, white-collar job, and I'm getting paid well to do it, and I'm complaining about it. I don't like it. I want to do something else. I want to quit. I want to leave. I'm burned out. Like, and people are like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's really important to understand that you can't let that shame, you can't internalize that. Just because, if that's messaging that you're getting, that's not your problem. It's not your thing to work with. You know your truth, and your truth is that this isn't right for me for some reason. And the reason that's important, what I'm tying it to here, is that I wanted to do more, not just for myself. Yeah, I wanted to be happier on a daily basis. Hell yeah. But I also wanted to make a difference. I also wanted to do something that I cared about. I wanted to impact other people. What I realized sitting at a desk doing what I was doing, I wasn't impacting people and imparting change the way that I had the potential to. I've always known that I have the potential to do great things. That can sound really arrogant to some people, but you know what? To me, that's not arrogant at all. You need to step into that. If you know you can make a difference, why the fuck would you waste that? Why the fuck would you not admit that to yourself? You're here because you have a sense of that for yourself. You know that you could be doing more. So shed the arrogance, like, let it go. You need to step into this reality, your truth, and be like, I do have something to offer, and I need to figure out how to offer it, because what I'm doing right now isn't working. Or maybe it's working, but only partially, and I need to figure out how to really kind of capitalize on it. So that's what I realized in that moment. And so eventually then I realized that I was super into fitness at the time, and I was like, I can help people. I can be on the ground helping people every day, day in, day out, making people better. Fitness and health is such an important piece of people's lives and well-being as a whole. I can do that thing. And to me, it was just so exciting. It was like the possibilities were endless, because nobody had offered this to me. There was no, and I'm not blaming anybody for that, but it's just like there was never this idea of like, oh, you could be a personal trainer as a career path, right? It's like, oh, you could be a personal trainer, a part-time thing, or if you want to get paid pennies, or, it's just always just like, and which is bullshit, by the way, for any job. And so, but I was excited. I was like, this feels really good to me. This feels really exciting and expansive. Do I see that pay scale staying the same? Not right now, no. Like in reality, no, I don't. But I didn't care. So I quit. I went back and I lived with my parents for a little bit. Remember, I'm 23 at this point, living with my parents. And so thankfully, this is like right before I was looking to move to Chicago with my buddy. And it's a good thing I didn't, because I moved back with my parents, and I had some money saved up. By the way, I should mention too that I ended up quitting after 2 years, just over 2 years. And I had gotten a fat raise at one point, so I was making over $70,000 a year, which as a 23-year-old is pretty damn good. So I left this cushy thing, and yes, I had the opportunity to go live with my parents, which is huge, incredibly helpful. Don't know how I would have done it without them. But I did it. I left that cushy, comforting environment. I left the degree, the work, the field, that the degree supported, that I had just spent 4 years working my fucking ass off for, and that I'm still paying off, right? Like, just loans upon loans upon loans. Like 60K in loans at the beginning, realizing that I've already paid that and more off, but there's still that and more left because, interest. They don't really explain that whole thing to you very well as an 18-year-old. Anyways, won't go down that rabbit hole. No time for that rant currently. So I started doing this other work as a personal trainer. And immediately I was like, oh shit, this is exactly what I was hoping. It was everything I wanted to feel, and that I knew, like, on some deeper level that I could feel. It was that and more. And I was getting paid shit, by the way, coming from 70K all the way down to like $15 an hour, $12 an hour. Like, yeah, it wasn't much. And I wasn't working like full time because of the way that I was like on the floor and like trying to get clients and all this stuff. So the first year I worked at Equinox in Lincoln Park in Chicago. For a year, I made like fucking 15K or something that year. Again, thank God for my parents and for savings. I was commuting, by the way, from the suburbs to Chicago to do this. But I couldn't have been happier. I could not have been happier. It was amazing. I left after a year because I realized that even though I was doing work that I wanted to, I still hate corporate bullshit. So no matter the field, corporate politics, bureaucracy is what it is. And so I was like, fuck this. I felt like my ceiling was, pretty capped there as well. And so I moved to a personal training studio. Started my own personal training business, which is 7 years ago now, and absolutely loved it. It was terrifying to do this, by the way, because I didn't have a full book of business, but it was a leap of faith. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, have some of these clients and start from there and just have faith that I will figure it out. And that's like the mantra that I came back to is I will figure it out. I will make this happen because it just feels so meaningful and so right to me. So it's terrifying, but I took the leap and I did it. And I actually had something really amazing happen. People always talk about the universe has your back, or, you'll have these serendipitous things happen. And at the time, I wasn't somebody who believed in that kind of stuff, but it absolutely happened. One of the trainers there at this gym, he saw me like 2 times. I had like a 3-minute, surface level conversation with him, and he eventually was like, hey, I'm moving out of state. I want to offer you like a handful of my business. Does that sound cool? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. Amazing thing. I actually am still I've worked with his clients for years. I'm still working with one or two in like a small virtual capacity, COVID, because they're just such like longtime clients. And so that situation in and of itself was incredibly eye-opening for me and just amazing. When you take the leap, the net will be there. And I know that's incredibly difficult to, there's no rationale behind that. It takes a lot of trust to do that. It's a trust fall. That's exactly what it is, leap of faith. So 2 years in, I was making good money. I was back to what I had been making at a desk job. And so in this moment, I'm just at the top of the world, because I'm just like, oh, this is incredible. I'm doing what I love. I have flexibility and I'm in control and I'm making good money on top of it. Like, this is it. I fucking made it. I hadn't made it. And so what happens though, so, you know, even within that first leap to do the thing that I loved, and then this second leap of like, I'm doing this for myself and I'm making a good living. I had moved to Chicago by this point, so I'm supporting myself, living in the city. There was a sense of, I can never go back. And I want everybody to experience this. Like, it was just so amazing to me. It wasn't like I was, you know, the opposite of me hoarding it and wanting to keep it to myself. I was like, I want every good person to feel this, good person. Every like good-hearted person to be able to feel this and know that they have this capacity to do this. So yeah, that was a feeling that was there. Business continued, things were going well. It was great. A couple of years ago, my health kind of started going downhill a little bit. I just wasn't feeling myself. Met my now wife, continued to not feel well, and things just kind of like slow decline, which didn't really make sense to me because I loved my life. Everything was okay. Nothing tested out wrong or anything like that. And eventually in 2018, my health just like crashed and burned. There was a handful of events that led to it happening, crashed and burned. I was like, what is happening? Why? What? It was just a disaster. It was a very rough few months. And one of the things that I learned during that time was that I wanted to, coming back to that feeling that I just shared with you, I wanted to help other people with those deep things. You know, I've been training people for years at this point, but my favorite part was the people that were coming to me that I saw my story in, and I was helping them make these shifts in their lives. So we're working out, but we're also making these bigger, deeper shifts. And that to me just felt so meaningful and what I love doing. And before my health issues, I hadn't really explored that. Like, I always knew that I wanted to do life coaching and help people in this way, but I was scared because fitness was my comfort zone. It's what I knew. It's what I felt confident about. And so I never quite made the shift. You know, I was like, okay, I'll still stay in this little box and I'll continue to do this with my clients. And eventually I'll figure out, well, after getting sick, it was basically like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like when you get to such a rock bottom, you have some very clear moments amidst all the clouds. And so I was like, this is what I need to do. And so immediately I started working this angle and really, really stepping into focusing everything on helping people make this shift in their lives because it's there. I want to help empower individuals to make that change that I did. And the reason is because, not to be self-serving, I do enjoy it. I deeply, deeply enjoy it, but it's because I feel that feeling in them. And there's nothing like that. This kind of like coming alive moment of coming back to self and who you are. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that transformation because I know what that is. I know what that feels like. And I also know that now that person, that individual, has the ability to go and do the work in the world that they are meant to do, the work that they are deeply passionate about, that feel great purpose in. That to me is a job well done. That to me makes what I have done and what I've gone through to get here all worth it. Because if I can create that little bit of ripple effect, that's my work, right? Like, I know that I'm contributing to the bigger picture, making a difference in the world every time I empower an individual. So I've been able to do that through my coaching, but that's why I'm starting on YouTube. And, obviously you could be watching this at just about any point, but that's why I started this, because I want to get this out to everybody. I can only work with so many one-on-one clients. I want to be able to get this out to everybody, to you, to any person that feels like they can make a difference in the world, somebody that feels like they have another path and they don't know how to get there or what to do about it. They just want to do great things, but are stuck and frustrated and confused. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. I didn't even point at my board here, but yeah, you read those. They all worked in, right? So that's who I am. That's how I got here. That's why I do what I do. And I just appreciate you for being here as well, and for being ready to admit this to yourself, that you're in this place, and to be able to take steps forward and to figure it out, right? Because it's messy. The easier thing to do would be to continue life in the way that you should, that everybody else does. But you are here. You are ready to figure out whatever's happening for you, in you, around you, about you. And you are ready to try to take the next steps. So props to you for being here. Props to you for making this video, through this video, if you did. Shoot me a message or a thumbs up or something below if you made it through my story video, because yeah, I talk a lot. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I would love to get to know you. Comment, add me on Instagram. That's where I spend the most time on social. Message me there. I love meeting you. I've said this before in my little welcome video here, and I'll say it again now. I'm not here to sell you. Yes, I'm a coach. Yes, people pay me for my services. I charge them for my services. I don't need your business. I would love it if you chose to do that because that was right for you. I don't need it. So I just want you to know that you can always connect with me, reach out to me, and there's not going to be a sales pitch on the back end of it, because I know how uncomfortable that can be and just so fucking annoying. So anyways, appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me. Shoot me a comment down below. Give the video a like if you liked it, but also give me a comment down below in terms of what resonated with you the most. That's what I'm curious about. What resonated with you the most, and then I'm also going to include a freebie. It's how to discover what your superpower is. This is to help you start getting back in touch with you. It's the very first step on your path to figuring out who you are, what you want, creating the life that you want to live. Any questions you have, but check out the freebie. You could download that below, and also, like I said, thing that resonated with you the most, because I want to know, because the more that I know these things, the more that I can continue to share and talk about them. So love you. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed this and you want to hang out. Talk to you soon.